back. Welcome back. It is December already. Holy smokes. And here we are getting ready for our New Year's resolutions coming up because we've already gained all the weight. We're going to gain some more over the next weeks or next month. So, let's just ride this train out to the end of the year and have a good time. Welcome back, John Ruark, Adam Burke, Ty Smith. Great seeing you all as always. So, how was Thanksgiving?
It was my birthday.
So
I
we all got
turned
to celebrate your
old.
birthday together.
I turned
how
old.
How much old did you turn?
I turned 1 more year old.
One more. Ah,
I am now a glorious. Let me see. I'm now into my 6th decade.
Nice.
Yep. I'm 57.
Awesome.
And most people go, you're not like, yeah, I am. Trust me, my knees tell me every day, and my driver's license say I was born in 1967. So yeah, there you go. Whatever, man.
Well, you don't look a day over 65.
Oh, thank you.
Adam.
Thank you, Jesus.
What problem are you solving
No.
after Thanksgiving?
Well, the first problem I'm solving is literal. I'm solving talking about getting old, Ty. I'm solving my eyesight problem.
Your spectacles. Fantastic.
Solving
I noticed those. When did you get glasses, man?
I don't know. They're like drugstore readers, but
so they ain't real glasses. They're just like, I can't see.
But they work.
I can't see that. Normally we just had the screen. We had this Trello board up on the side, and if I want to see that, I can either keep zooming in. See, it's a good customers have multiple problems. Problems have multiple solutions. So I can either zoom in and keep pinching and
bring the thing closer,
but eventually.
So I used to make fun of my grandfather, my late grandfather, like, just tell me when you want me to stop going back. I, on the other hand, have to take my glasses off to read. Go figure. I am as nearsighted as you can get. And without my glasses, I can't see any further than like right there, and it starts to get blurry. It's bad. But hey, I woke up this morning. I had good attitude and plenty of opportunity, so I'm winning. Hi, guys. Winning.
Are you want to hear my other problem?
What's your other problem, Adam?
All right, so we've got mentors galore, feedbackers, some of whom are hopefully hanging out with us tonight. Next week, I want to see a new team. We have some folks on standby that have done their work and done 10 interviews.
Nice.
But they're already in the year. I want to see if we can get someone new that we don't know. It doesn't have to be 10 interviews, but it has to be 3. We're not going to just give feedback on the spot. And I think it has to be minimum of 3 or 4 customer interviews in theme with our friends from Strategyzer posted today about, asking the wrong questions. We've keep seeing the same stuff over and over again. People doing it wrong. I can see how not everyone's going to want to do it wrong in public. So there might have to be some incentives. Hopefully the 10 mentors, we'll list them on LinkedIn. But we've had some people come on already, and we've had people submitting interviews. Let's see if we can get one startup. We have any other parameters? Any type of startup, impact, hard tech, not SaaS, early stage. I think if it's pretty much any founder, even second time, build in public, learn in public.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 interviews. That's the minimum ante.
I'm going to go with.
Are we all in alignment on that piece at least?
Yeah. Well, I want to go with what our friend Ash said. Just give me something that's a good problem, not something that like that ain't it. That ain't a good problem. I want something that's like makes me go. And you guys know me, likes me go. Wow. Ooh, dang.
So hold on. So hold on.
Right, John? Like, hold on. Okay, hold on. Holding.
You need the 3 interviews before you know it's a good problem or not. You need good questions. So again, I'll go back straight. I don't even have to say the strategy. Osterwalder posted something again today. If you're asking people if they'll buy your product, it's a bad question. Craig and Brandy from Calgary say the same thing over and the teaching part of this has been said. The mom test, our friend Mike Vladimir from Nascent, that piece has been said about how to ask non-leading questions, how to not ask if people are going to buy your product, not asking how much people will pay. I think your question of what problem are you solving is even further along down the road about getting data back. You're already looking for a good problem. And I'm saying I'm still looking for a good interview. I'm not seeing them. And we had some of our friends on. We had Jen on. We can say it. It's recorded, so we're not talking about other people's programs. We have people from iCore on. We have people from tomorrow night's another TechTown customer showcase. So I'm hoping to get one of those teams actually. So I've got some aces in the. But I don't think we're still not seeing good interviews. Forget about good problems come good interviews, and good interviews come after interviews. I think this is now proven case law, and I think a lot of mentors like us are giving founders a hard time about the problem and asking in college, university accelerators to present out, what's what problem and what features you're going to build, and we're not even there yet, and it's frustrating, but we're not. And so
let me ask you a question. So I'm going to play that proverbial poke the bear a bit. Why do we ask questions? It's a philosophical kind of treatise I want to start with. Why do we ask questions? Not about startups, just
to learn something new.
Okay, based on what?
Curiosity.
Based on what?
Something we saw.
Thank you. So, get a good question, yes, but you've started the question based on something made you go. Shout out to the guys, Adam Savage and Adam and I can only remember Adam. I can remember the other guy, Matt, the Discovery Channel guys that are doing the science guys.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
The Mythbusters or whatever.
Mythbusters. Thank you. Jamie and Adam, right? There you go. Jamie and Adam.
That's right.
Right? That they go, you know what science is? When you see something, you go, huh, I didn't expect that. That was interesting. And so, yes, we got to ask good questions, but the questions are based on me interacting with the world, bumping into something that made me go, I didn't expect that. Now, for me, the curious question is, the curious problem is it that you didn't expect it and it was so mind-blowing, or it was just out of the ordinary, but once you looked at it, it was like, oh, all right, that's okay, that's just an aberration from what I would usually see, right? I know that thing that buzzes around, that every once in a while it has black and yellow stripes and it flies really fast and it's aggressive. Yeah, that's probably a B. System one thinking, whoop, gotta go, right? SWAT. But could it be a bee that's stingless? That also the wasps that kill, they don't sting, they just mud daubers or whatever. Now I have to challenge it, because then I go, is this the thing I really thought that it was? And if it isn't, now I do the chain of logic, right? I'm asking a question. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? And so I'm not saying, Adam, that we don't want to hear good questions, but I think the chicken and egg is your questions that you're asking, are they based in something that made you go, I didn't expect that? And I'd be curious about what that is, because when I ask you what your questions are, if they seem mundane, it's probably because that what you saw wasn't what you thought you saw. Mm-hmm. An example, I'm meeting with somebody on Friday who is using a technology that she's like, it's TRL, like Humpty Snatch, and I know I can solve it. And John, you and I, it's based on a UAV, and I'm looking at it like it's the It's the Steve Blank problem of why do you want to build
why do you want to build a drone?
Right. I want to build it so I can collect the stuff. There ain't nobody out there doing that already.
Somebody wants the stuff, yeah.
So it's like she's like trying to solve a problem, and she's gonna ask all these questions about the problem. And I'm like, baby, they got planes up there that do hyperspectral analysis. You tune the hyperspectral to get the stuff that you want. And I'm gonna tell her this on Friday.
Nice.
Just told her now.
Well, she ain't gonna listen. Maybe she'll listen at some other point next Monday.
So this is leading into next Monday, right?
Yeah. Does she want to come? Does she want to come on? So should she be doing interviews?
I think that I'll find out, because I'm going to be super hyper curious about who she talked to and how she got to the point where she's at. Because she was like, "Yo, I want to go after some non-dilutive capital on the government side." I'm like, did you think about these other things? And I'm like, I don't think she has. She was like super hyper focused. Yeah, she has the thing. Oh, I have this thing and it's proprietary and about
great. Yep.
I'm like,
so is your question
excuse me.
Is that just the what problem are you solving question? Your initial, is there two versions? It's just two versions. The thing that you're curious about, what problem are you solving and why? Because I'm reluctant to go down the other people are doing it. Therefore, I think that comes into the what pays, not the what problem are you solving. Someone else's, you could still say, all right, yeah, this is still a problem.
I think where Ty was going was kind of in the Testing with Humans book. There's an example of the startup trying to build a smart soccer ball with all these sensors, and it can track where it gets kicked and all this. And they were getting ready to invest all these thousands and thousands of dollars in electronics. But the real question was, that was much lower tech, was, do coaches even want this information? And
Yes.
Can you fake the information such that you can prove the desirability and viability before you even touch the feasibility? So what they did was they actually delivered a high-tech soccer ball. It was just a regular soccer ball. And they set up some cameras around the field, and they manually took the data afterwards and drew up a little, schematic of how the players played and how they kicked, and gave that to the coach. And the coach was like, "This is fantastic. You got all that from that soccer ball?" "Sure we did." Right? And so it was how to test the idea before building something expensive. So not don't build, or that someone else has built it, but are you trying to generate a report, or are you trying to build really cool tech? That's why I'm a recovering engineer. I always wanted to do the latter. I always wanted to build really cool tech, and I didn't care how it was used. So
I think there's settled science on the don't build it, test the solution manually.
Mm-hmm, right.
I still think we struggle with the who on the coaches piece is still more interesting to me. Like, I think we can get to a place next week where we all agree. Did you talk to coaches, and what did they say to tell you that building a soccer ball, like anything
right,
that told you to build something? Yep. And I think that's my goal.
So Adam, hype up next week. Let's talk about next week.
I think we just did. I think we need a founder to come on who's pitching, who has an idea for a soccer ball, for the next gen soccer ball. And when Ty is going to ask you why that you're going to have spoken to 5 soccer coaches, and that's where your idea. The reason why I kind of was pushing on it, I agree that the idea needs to come from somewhere, and you need to be, and we're mixing metaphors, and there needs to be some initial curiosity. I think we'll get there, but I want to go a little bit further than that, but a little bit before we're testing. Yeah, I think we all agree on how to test things manually, but this idea that, and I also think that who else is doing it and how you're going to make money from it. I think all that stuff is out there, and we'll get through 2025 kind of week by week talking about different topics. But this idea of, did you talk to any soccer coaches and what did they say that tells you that there's a there? And I just think from there, it's like, all right, well, then we can have a debate about whether you should have talked to parents or professional soccer coaches or gym teachers. We can have that conversation in good faith. We can have the conversation in good faith that you were, we caught you, asking them how much they would pay before and giving you, bad data. Oh, show me when you build the thing and I'll test it out then. Like, we can debug all of that. But I still think we need to close the loop on real founders instead of what the case study that other author picked from their case study. I think we need real founders on, and the 3 of us and then the 10 of us agreeing, like, okay, where'd you get the idea from? Who are the 10 soccer? I mean, that's the write-up I'm going to give tonight. And when we're looking for, it's like, did you talk to 10 soccer coaches? But those 10 people can be anyone. So that's next week. So we got 10 more of us. Well, let's say 6 more of us. If you have the guts to tell us the 10 soccer.
Bring it on.
Challenge.
The 3 to 10 soccer coaches that you talk to before building the ball. And we will try to figure out, A, if you ask the right questions, and B, if they're telling you that they need a ball, or if they're just telling you to go take the ball and go home.
That's it. I'm taking my ball and going home.
I'm telling you, I actually am excited by that. I don't care what they build, but I do. All right. But as you said, that is far downstream what they build. I'm concerned about, like, because it's almost those questions of, I don't know. Don't tell me about your future. Tell me about how you do it and how you did it. Right. When we're doing the customer discovery, design thinking challenge kind of stuff. I'm interested in John, the Plato's Cave keeps popping in my head. And I don't know why, except for that what I see is folks building what they see on the back of the wall, right? In Plato's Cave, they're stuck in the cave. The only thing that they can see is the shadows that are cast out in front of them, and they react to it until somebody leaps out of the cave, and now it's like, oh my God, there's actual life outside of this thing. I'm interested in, are they still stuck in the cave because they are interacting with something they felt that was absolutely important, or they have some data based on something they thought was important and they asked the right questions. And what I hear you saying, Adam, which I'm excited about, is tell us how you got to this point. What did you see that made you go, whoa?
That's it.
Right? And then what questions you ask somebody? I don't care who that person was.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you ask to confirm or disconfirm what you thought made you go, whoa? I think if we could get people to say, this was my whoa. Right?
We've done it. We do this all the time in workshops. We've done it privately. We've all done it together, but it still is like one at a time shit. Mm-hmm. We've not managed to do this out loud. And there's a million people talking about that. Very few people, including my experience with iCore. I went back on their website to make sure that I wasn't just being disgruntled. There's some amazing tech that has come out of those programs, but I don't see, for all I know, that tech existed anyway, and it's still, but
well,
I don't know.
I think that's part of the iCore promise and peril, right? The promise is that they find some technology that's available somewhere. Right. Either they bring it in or they go to the shelf and they're like, dude, I can build a business around this, because they think they've asked the right question. I hear you saying they think they've asked the right question. They've had in our language right now, a pseudo whoa, right? Whoa, right? And they go and build something, but they never, and then they get trapped and in love with their idea. And Frank McGarry, right? Don't fall in love with your first idea because it's inevitably wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
I mean, frankly, I didn't know how much we were going to say out loud, but let's say stuff out loud. I would, when we were talking about who should come on, I actually would love to see some of the later stage I-Corps people are serious business, and I don't want to get into their business, but some of the regional, I've done 30 interviews. I've talked to some of these people offline, not live, and I say, where'd you store your interviews? What did you learn from them? And they can't answer. And
Wow.
it's these are only a handful of conversations, but I want to see if we keep testing that, if it turns out to continue to be true.
It's funny, you guys remember, and maybe some of our historic listeners will remember Javion Kendrick, who was my student at Bowie State University. And he had this idea around utilizing AI to build out some idea of to help support financial aid, blah, blah, blah. He is now almost I think because he really he is not an expert in the field. I think by February, so he'll have like 200 interviews. And it has been an absolute boon for him because he literally has pivoted 4 times to the point where he's now like, I think I have an idea who this is. My idea is really for, and it's so far away from financial aid, and it's into how do I support learning, right? Using a methodology to support learning, using AI to support learning. So he was able to ask questions that really got him down to the core issue of the problem he's solving, and that is learning for kids who are impacted by COVID. Right?
There you go.
How'd you get there? I just asked questions, and I kept asking questions, and it wasn't about me. Hey, I got this really fancy thing. It's going to the teachers like, where's the biggest deficit for your kids? And then running some tests with this thing that he built, and then learning from the thing that he built that this is cool, but this is way bigger than what I expected I was building for. And then he could build questions around that. So I think that you're onto something, Adam. I appreciate you.
We might have to bring him back next week if we have to. So put him on standby.
Nice.
I will let him know.
Well, let's stop talking about building the perfect soccer ball. Gifting the perfect soccer ball. So it is that time of year.
I heard that you have a really good story about this.
I do. I'm going to preface this as my wear for today is
Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell,
Christmas tree cakes.
All the way.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. So there I was.
Wonderful time of the year.
There I was in the Office of Ventures and Innovation in a government agency, and Christmas time we decided to do something fun, and we decided to use the value proposition canvas to help people with their gift giving ideas. All right, so we set up a little booth like Lucy, a psychiatrist booth for 5 cents, and we set it up in the cafeteria and said, need help picking out that perfect present? We can help. And we ran it as an experiment, and it went smashingly well. So what we did was we let people have a little 5 to 10 minute interview with us, and we helped coach them through picking the perfect present for someone. So we decided to use the value proposition canvas. Let me pull that up here just to remind everyone what that looks like. And that helped us to, there we go. That helped us to get them thinking in terms of the person on the right, who they're giving it to, and then the actual gift. Will it actually do something for them? Which is interesting. My strategizer in the value proposition canvas actually made it as a gift on the left. And the square is a gift. The circle is the customer segment, the customer persona. All right. So in doing so, sitting down, having this conversation with people, we said, hey, step one, who are you buying this gift for, right? We can't cover your whole family. We've only got 5 minutes. Pick one person that you want to give this present to. We're not even in the present realm yet, because we're going to start on the right side. We're going to start over here on the circle and really talk about, really get to know them well. and we talk about what jobs they're trying to get done, what's painful about the way they're doing it, and what are some gains that they hope to get out of it. All right, so through this conversation, we'd have them talk through some things that these family members like, or that things that they are trying to accomplish. Maybe I'm trying to cook a better meal. Maybe I'm trying to spend more time with my family. And that's really the root of the customer jobs. And then we say, okay, what's painful about that? What's difficult about the way they're doing it today? What solution are they using that they're not quite happy with? Right? What have you observed them do or say? Right? And then what would actually wow them? What would make them come out with a much better experience, not just solving the problem, but actually, being life-changing? What's that oh wow moment that's that gain creator for them? And so we walk through this canvas with them, so much in fact that with them we started walking over on the left-hand side and said, okay, well, if this is painful for them, what are some potential brainstorming ideas that could help relieve those pains? What are some things that you could do or try to relieve those pains? Right? We're not even in the solution space yet. We're just kind of brainstorming what are pain relievers that could be there to solve some of those pains. And then what are some gain creators? What are some things that, if implemented, would wow them? And we try to mirror those up, right? So you should think about not putting a gain creator unless you actually have a gain listed already. So much, in fact, that finally, by the end of this conversation, we're actually now talking about which products and services could actually relieve those pains and create those gains. As an entrepreneur, you're going to be building these things, right? You're going to be solving this for yourself. But just as a mere gift giver, are there products and services out on the market today that could actually help? And so by merely walking through this value proposition canvas in 5 minutes or less, we've actually helped people decide on almost the perfect Christmas gift.
Name names.
Pretty wild. Name names. It was a fun time. We had a lot of people go by the booth. It was just kind of these walk by and as you go. But we made sure to flag down the then director of the agency. He's like, I'm really busy. Sir, just need 5 minutes of your time. And so he was a sucker. He came down and he listened to what we had to say. He walked through this and he says, well, I want to buy something for my daughter. And she lives out of town, and it's, she really enjoys spending time with family. She enjoys connecting with me. We like to talk a lot on the phone. And I said, well, what's painful about that? Well, you can't always see your family on the phone and all that. And what would be a gain creator? Like, what would make her life easier, or something more astonishing wow factor? Well, I would love to see the kids more. I would like to see the grandkids and that kind of thing. And through the end of that conversation, we actually got him to realize there are things like the Alexa, Echoes with the video screens that you can actually do two-way video just right there on the shelf. You don't need to get your phone out. You don't need to do all this. It's just right there, and you can start a quick video call. And he's like, you know what? That's a great idea. So, not sponsored by Amazon, but
yet
certainly helped in a 5-minute conversation get him something where he could see his grandkids on a more regular basis.
I had forgotten all about that Christmas thing that OVI did back in the day. I'd forgotten all about that, and I didn't realize that you actually talked to the director at that point. It's a great story.
Yeah. So it works. This does work for more than just entrepreneurs.
I actually have an exercise that I do with when I do design thinking or large startup to teach people how to ask really good questions. I know we were talking about it, but it relates to this. And I give them a series of just 20 random questions that they can pick from, right? But they have to ask really good questions because it moves them away from, I know about, even with a friend, I know you and I know how to do this thing for you. And by the time they get through 5 or 6 of these questions, and I literally give these students, I've done it twice now in the last month and a half, and I give them 7 minutes. And in those 7 minutes, by asking really good questions and focusing on pains and gains, jobs to be done, all that stuff that, finding the pain point, they come up with a product or service 3 different products or services just based on just a bunch of random questions don't mean anything.
Right.
And I think that what you taught us and what we did back then and what you just taught us now is by focusing on the thing that they're trying to do.
Right.
Why is it hard? And the thing that they hope to do, that there might be something that relieves that hard thing that actually will create something they couldn't even imagine, like the spectacular opportunity that you could really you could create magic, which I think is what Christmas is all about, right? It's a magical thing that people experience, especially the kids.
Absolutely.
Right? So most of the time we do it through observation, but what if we actually were intentional about how we talk to people?
Magic by design.
Who? Clutch my pearls.
Love it.
Clutch my pearls.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Can't be, but it is true. I mean, because there is a method to think through this. I mean, there's other canvases and everything, but this is a really helpful one if you wanted to think of, like, again, putting yourself in their shoes. Try to think about some context, because there's lots of jobs that people do all the time, all day, every day, in different contexts, right? So even narrowing that down, do you want something that they enjoy eating? Do you want something that they enjoy using, touching, playing? Do you want something that improves their daily life? Something that they sleep on or drive, those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
And then once you narrow that down, then you move to the other parts of the circle, right? So what's painful about that job, right? And then you walk through those conversations, right? Oh, and remember, removing a pain is not creating a gain. Let me say that again. Just by merely removing a pain does not create a gain, right? So the best example I always like to use is there's a pain when you go pay with something with your credit card and it says card declined. That's a pain. But merely having the transaction go through and it says card approved, that's not creating a gain. That's just doing what it's supposed to do, right? That's the mere base functionality, right? We want to go up the Kano model and actually create something that's, above and beyond their minimum set of expectations.
What did you call that? The Kano model?
I remember that, and let me go find a picture of that.
He just pulled something. You talk about me, Adam. This Joker just pulled something completely out of nowhere.
All right, well, he's looking that up. All right, I'll save my question. Go ahead.
All right, so the Kano model.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
So I'm always at the ready. It's a model for which feature should you add to software products, etc. Right? And so, you start with your must-haves, like the basic. Your cell phone has to make a phone call, right? And then you get some standard of performance over time. All the phones act alike. They all have to do these basic set of things. But now you actually want to move up into those delighters category, where you're actually wowing them, delighting them, not just doing what the bare functionality is. You actually want to go up and think about your features, kind of in that order.
Makes absolute sense to me, and I use that in my head all the time, but I had not heard of this model before. I'm just going to quickly divert back to our questions that we were talking about, in the first half,
right,
in terms of how do you ask questions to figure out where the must-haves,
right.
standards, and then what could you expect that you didn't expect before?
Right.
Because you had must-haves, performance,
basic
performance, must-have. You don't have it, then you're actually depreciating my ability to get something.
And delighters.
Done. Yeah. Right.
Versus, that's why when I'm coaching too, I'll ask, no matter what the context is, I'll usually ask the question: if you were king for a day or queen for a day, what would you remove? What would you change? Oh, so like no holds bars. I can change anything. Yes, you can. Oh, well, I get rid of this, right? And they know, because they're so constrained by the current state. Like, oh, if I can remove that, man, my life would be 10 times easier. That's a delighter. That's what I want to go for.
That's interesting in terms of holiday gifts, because I'm just going to get philosophical on holidays. I mean, that's supposed to be the time when you are to get something that you just didn't expect. I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother was born in 1925 as a sharecropper in South Carolina. And so she...
Oh, we just lost you. Let's see if we'll get you back here in a second. But I'll share a Christmas story that ended up being a delighter. So just last Christmas, a little bit of context. Kid number 3 had been asking for a pet, for a dog specifically, for years, literally years of her life. And it's not the right time. We have a big family and a lot of responsibility, yada, yada, yada. And so we eventually revealed last Christmas that yes, we will get a dog. And every parent's like wish came true, right? Where tears were coming down the face. She was so happy, so excited, so thankful. We're like, couldn't have worked out any better, right? So we're really happy about that. So that was a delighter for her. It wasn't just meets minimum standard, right? That when your customer segment cries because you solved the problem for them, keep going. Like that's good stuff right there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. All right, go ahead, Ty.
I hate computers. No, the story is that she was born a sharecropper, and talking about the magical part of what it means to be a kid and gift giving and understanding your loved one. So she grew up in a space where it was subsistence, right? You bought things that helped you survive. If you got this, is the same lady would save wrapping. Her wrapping paper was a Sunday funny newspapers.
Yep.
For every entire year, she would save the funny papers because for her it was the ubiquity associated with that, right? You wrap something, and it looks good and it's funny, and they're just gonna rip it up and throw it away. Mm-hmm. My parents got me a camera, like a Olympus OM10, 1983. This is something like that. Yeah, a long time ago. Olympus OM10 with all the lenses, and my grandmother freaked out. She's like, "Why are you buying that for that boy? It's too expensive," and blah, 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 blah. And it really came down to, well, first of all, it's not your son. Second of all, it's our son. Third of all, it's what he wanted because it made him feel good, right? It made him feel special. And I think that what you have in the circle square is the interview in the circle is about that person wanting to make their loved one feel special.
Exactly.
Right.
Just like an entrepreneur tries to delight customers. We did a whole show on, make your customers, fall in love with your customers, right? Same thing. When you're picking out a gift, you just don't want to get like, Target gift card, right? You actually want to put some effort in and actually delight that customer with the gift that you give them. And that's what we're talking about, right? So use their same methods, same techniques, same thought process to turn your loved one into a delighted companion.
Magic, baby, magic.
Magic by design.
How did you know? It's like when we coach people or we're running a facilitation and we say something and people go, "How did you know?" I'm a wizard, the Wizard of Waverly Place or whatever. Yeah. No, I just listened to you and I understood where you were going. And I built some inferences based on data and knowledge and about people and stuff that you offered me. And so I could build inferences. And I think it'll be interesting to hear the questions and how people are building when we have them come next week or whenever, how they're building their inferences to ask their questions. It'll be really, really interesting because then you'll see, are you really paying attention to not only your customer, but to yourself and your experience? Because I think good coaches use self as a data point.
Sure.
Right? That when you're really, really connected to what's going on, you can have this experience of, what I say, I told my students I was working is people want empathy. They said, you'll find that in a dictionary? Where? Between two places, you don't want either one of those. Shit and syphilis. You don't want either
sympathy,
one.
Right.
Right? That's where you'll find sympathy.
Right. You don't want sympathy. You want empathy.
That's right. I want more empathy. I want the ability to just sit in that space and say, I too have experienced not what you experienced, but my own sense of it. And this is how I dealt with it. And I'm thinking that based on the parts that I'm collecting, I'm getting a sense through inference that this is where it's going on. Still haven't sold my thing yet, but I'm building inference ladder that gets me to the thing that you might be willing to buy.
Mm-hmm.
But still haven't sold my thing.
So it's actually true. I like the way you talked about your inference ladder too, because you're not going to get this right the first time either, right?
Nope.
You throw out some ideas, but if you really start walking through this, you're going to maybe have some conversations, and allude to certain things as you're trying to pick out a gift, right? You can say, hey, when was the last time, you played that video game, right? When was the last time, you went out and washed your car, right? You start to gather more data, and that can help steer and validate or invalidate, as we talk about with business experiments, what your assumptions are about your customer segment. Right? Because when you're giving a gift, preferably by surprise, you're making a ton of assumptions, right? When you're picking out that gift, you are assuming it's going to solve these things and they're going to like it, right? So just like with the goal of a startup is to reduce that uncertainty as quickly and as cheaply as possible, the same thing is also true picking out that perfect gift, right, Adam?
So I mean, normally I do this to you after the show, but there's a Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry gets someone a sweater. He's like, "This isn't a gift. This is a chore." He has to go return
a chore. Yeah.
He's like, "This is not a gift. This is an assignment, right?" So not only is it not a pain reliever or a gain creator,
it's a pain creator.
It's a pain creator. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's why I was, even though this is kind of, I won't call it a gimmick. This is like, holiday spirit kind of episode, but that's why I was so looking forward to it, because it's true. It's like, it's the same exact thing with products, with entrepreneurs. Like, not only are you,
yes,
Mike Vladimir and I talk about this all the time. Like, not only are you not solving a problem, you're creating something totally you're literally making it worse for them. I mean, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the most valuable things, like you're just talking about good coaches and empathy and self, and like pointing that out. Sometimes you're not, to keep with the holiday reference, you're not like Scrooge McDuck or Bah Humbug. Like, it's impossible for them to see that. Yeah. And it happens all the time. And that's why I too am so looking forward. I'm not trying to embarrass anyone, and maybe the public format is not perfectly ideal, but it's ideal for the net positive of the whole experience. But the right question is just the beginning. But then seeing data and like I used to say, like, junk mail sometimes. Not only if you take it away, then you don't have anything to like make you more excited when a real holiday card shows or a birthday card shows up. That's like the expected, the minimum features,
the expected friction,
or same thing with traffic. I talk about that all the time. Like, take away traffic, and now they're working an hour early, and
you got new problems.
Their podcast episode is not, and their me time is over, or their phone call that they call their friend or their mom in the car. So it's like,
there was a peer that time I used to work with, and he would say, solving a problem only creates new problems.
Yeah, but sometimes even right. Yes.
Yeah. So that new problems to solve, maybe good problems to solve.
Right.
First world problems. Oh no, I've got too much food to choose. Problem here in America, right? But then now you have new problems that you need to solve.
So I went and just Googled the difference between inference and hypothesis. And there you go, John. I got one for you. Gift for you. Socratic.org.
Nice.
Right? A hypothesis is a prediction about an outcome of an experiment. An inference is a conclusion drawn based on observations and prior knowledge. And I think in gift giving, it's about inference. In our startup world, it's about hypotheses. Although we do more, it's not a either or. It's a some split, because I'm not going to conduct an experiment, a direct experiment on, hey, would you rather have this for Christmas or this for Christmas, right? An A/B experiment. But I watch what they do.
A/B tests. I like it.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is all right. So bear with me for a second. So we just taught my daughter about like the Secret Santa game, where you can steal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like with one person goes first, and then you can steal the thing next. So you are that is the like. There's some like optimal allocation experiment.
Dude, you got me thinking.
Where you are actually experimenting with someone's game. So it's kind of interesting when you think of it that way.
This is true.
If you gave a room full of people just random gifts, but then some trading algorithm, you could actually run an A/B test.
Well, so
without asking questions, which is what entrepreneurs are trying to do all the time. They're just trying to throw a bunch of features into the room and have it self-optimize.
Right.
It doesn't really work that way. But now I'm thinking maybe it does.
Well, here's in the spirit of the gift giving of this conversation. I came to the realization of how hard it would be to buy one gift for a person.
Like
just one gift. Mm-hmm. Just one gift. And that's all they got was just one. Because, I go and get a funny gift, for my wife, a funny gift, a tech gift, a love gift, right? So, and then I try to play with it in something that's functional. Why? Because I'm trying to cover as much information, my inferences that I've gotten through the years, either through I thought I heard her, because she's so funny. She'll say something one time and it's like, I told you about that. I'm like, I wasn't, unless you turn around and say, listen to me, hit me in the top of the forehead. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't know what, I'm dumb, right?
Well, yeah. My wife actually does that now because she has learned that.
Oh yeah, I need it spelled out to me. I'm not gonna be shy about that. Tell me what on this list, and what's the product number, and what store do I get it
from? I don't want to guess anymore, right? But it speaks to me in the opposite the opposite of that is what we're trying to ferret out, make sure they don't do in our interviews. We don't want them building around inferences, observations, and prior knowledge. We want them building these questions based on some testing, right? We don't want them to come up with the one right thing that they're going to offer up to the customers that they're interviewing. They want to build out a set of questions inferred through experimentation, inferred questions to help them do, is it over here? I kind of call it like consulting by butterfly or firefly. Well, it was over here. I mean, over here. It was kind of like in this area, and I just keep narrowing it down until I get to that's what you're talking about. Awesome. I got it now. And I think that's the the story of the job to be done in the milkshake is like, what were you trying to do? Like,
what were you really trying to do?
Yeah, what were you really trying to do? I could have used the bagel or the banana or the this and the that, but this helps me solve that particular problem. Oh, it does? And by inference, I can say, well, how many other people are having the same problem? I talked to 14, but now let me look at the real data to find out where it's at. And come to find out, there are 14,000 people that are doing the same thing that 14 are doing. Oh, snap. Market.
So I got an interesting idea for you. If you were kind of using something like this value proposition canvas to help pick out a gift, and we hype up on the show quite a bit about customer discovery interviews. Just throw out some examples of some really good customer discovery interview type questions that you would ask your potential giftee that could help you discover something more, a better gift for them. You see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
What types of questions would you ask, just to gain knowledge, right? You're not showing them a solution yet. You're just trying to learn from them. What are some types of gift related customer discovery questions that you would ask?
What was the most annoying thing that happened to you last week?
Ooh.
What was the one thing that you wish you could have done differently over the last 6 months that if you had a magic wand, you can make it go away.
Magic wand was a good one. Yep. Yeah. Or just another basic one would just be, what frustrated you today, right? There's a problem there. Mm-hmm.
So I've been holding on to this question. I didn't want to. You both had here. This is the first time I'm commenting on our own show here in real time. So I didn't want to talk over. You both had beautifully touching holiday stories. I didn't want to go straight back.
Nice.
To the value proposition canvas. Pull it up again for me. So you said something early in the show. You're like, you don't have a pain reliever until you have a pain. You don't have a gain creator. They're not the same. They don't conflate them. I've seen this image 1,000, maybe 10,000 times.
That's a lot.
What problem are you solving? Is just the pain that you are relieving, sort of. And a lot of our interview, Ty, you were talking about whether it was the gift giving or, we're mixing metaphors here, or I am at least, how the interview questions start to focus on the customer segment, these three areas. And do you have to go to all three, or can you start sort of focusing on one? What's a question? I'm staring also at, and I'll complete this thought in a second. And I had it up before I started commenting on our own show. The post we were talking about from Strategizer this afternoon stated this perfectly. He said, give me 1 second. All right, and I'll pull it up. What is a question? I think we all know questions that will reveal pains. What questions can you ask that will reveal? I think observation can reveal jobs to some extent. I think frustrating, all those kind of questions can uncover the problems and the pains. So I have it up, and then I'll let you guys can think about it for a second. But this is the most eloquently, I guess this is why they're so popular. Customers know exactly what they're trying to get done, jobs to be done, what annoys them, pains, and what results they're looking for. That's it. That's his whole statement. But there's no gains in parentheses, and even in his post.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's almost where I've always struggled with the value proposition canvas. And now it's taken this episode. And again, we can save this for next week and the questions or our in-between week homework. But if you pull up the canvas again, I know for even the way I coach and all my teams, all of my questions are certainly around pains. And I think Craig and Brandy, when we had them on the show, like they'll say, you're not trying to remove, you're not trying to gain anything. You're sort of trying to remove stuff. I do agree with that for the most part. How do you uncover?
So with the gains, I think one thing that comes to mind for me would be, when was the last time that, you were amazed, right? Or imagine if the Walt Disney Company ran the Department of Motor Vehicles, right? What would that look like, right? Well, they're really focused on customer service, and they would serve you food while you're waiting in line, and there'd be a fast pass system, and right. So those are ideas just off the top of my head of ways of discovering or uncovering potential gains, right? Because it's based on the customer, so they're going to kind of know what would be a gain creator for them. May not be what it would be a gain creator for you, right? But for them, yeah, I would certainly be very Socratic in how I would ask, what what is something that you've never thought of before, or what is something that when was the last analogous activity that you did that blew your mind, or that you left extremely satisfied? And here's where I'm going with this. It's all these are all outcome based questions, not output. I don't want to know what you were doing or how many peanuts you counted at that time. I want to know, how did you feel after that? Did it get you closer to your goals, your personal goals, right? I want them to be more outcome focused rather than output focused. So if we can get people closer to their outcomes that they want to get to, whether they're working on them or not, if it gets to the outcomes they want to get, then we're getting close to finding.
I think you're onto something. I had a thought, but I think that you're onto something. To answer your question, and then I'll come back to what you just said, Adam. Can never remember Mikhail Shimazansky. He wrote the book Flow State. It is a so. When was the last time that you did something that you 3 hours later you're still doing it and you had no idea that you were still doing it?
Because you were just loved it. Yeah, you were
it
right
was
there.
An optimum flow, right?
Right.
Optimum flow, because that is optimum. That's flow state, right? Where time slows down, time dilation. This whole idea of being engaged in the thing, being just absolutely in love.
Here's a question,
just there, right?
Well, when was the last time you lost track of time?
Oh my
what were
God!
You doing?
Yes, exactly.
Who were you with?
Exactly.
What was the environment like?
And what you just said, John, helps me understand a better way to teach the circle part of this. Mm-hmm. What job are you trying to get done? What outputs do you not like?
Are painful. Yeah.
Are
I love
painful.
It. Yes.
What outcomes do you want to have happen?
Yeah.
Right? That's
pains are observable behaviors.
Exactly.
Right.
What do you want to stop? Outputs to get to an outcome.
Mm-hmm.
That I done learned something tonight. So I know what I'm going to say what I learned tonight. I know what I'm going to do. Daggone right.
Looks like I just created a game for Ty.
Oh my God. That is great. I'm telling you, man.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, man. That's
all right, gentlemen. Final thoughts on the gift giving season, finding the perfect gift, value proposition canvas, or anything else that comes to mind. Adam, take it away.
Something to do with gains, but I'm still stuck on gains being an outcome of the job to be done. I don't see that. I don't know.
Why would you choose Disney over Six Flags? Right? They're both amusement parks. One does customer service 10 times better. To do what? They don't have to. What are they creating by investing that amount of gain creators?
I don't know if you can reveal. I see the value. I see how the value proposition. I don't know if you're. Still don't know if you're getting that from an interview or an observation.
That's fair.
And I don't know that it's on the left. I think it's always just like pains and gains, right? Like, I don't know. They can take it. They know how much we respect their work over at Strategizer. I don't know. I think it works. I think it rhymes, and I think the jobs to be done. We talked about. It's obvious. You can see an outcome that they're trying to achieve that they don't know, they can describe it. You can see an obstacle. The gain to me and a gain creator is still the product or the service. Like, I don't know. I think let's look out. Let's prove ourselves wrong when we interview these founders. I think a lot of these interviews are going to be around pains for sure, jobs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I think the magic wand question is yes. Well, I guess now I'm answering it. It infers what the value proposition. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess. All right, that's my final thought. Let me think about this for a second.
I'm going to convert you yet. Love it.
Yeah. I gotta get one founder. We need a backlog so that we're not searching every week. Let's get some. If you've gone through iCore, tell us.
Come on the show.
Tell us about your interviews.
Ty, what's on your mind? Make sure you unmute.
While I appreciate the kind of the twist and trying to wrap your head around it, I think that what I learned today, particularly this last little piece around how to describe at least the circle side of the value proposition. Because when I hear, as I think through it and what you were saying, I'm listening to in my head Clay Christensen do his piece about why he had people who were in there and he was interviewing him, and he's like, well, egads, I gotta I gotta smear it on, or I feel bad about the thing, but golly, it's so smooth and it fits in my left hand, and it takes so long to do this, but by the time 20 minutes later, I'm no longer hungry. I've made my commute, which is about 20 to 25 minutes. I get to the job. I'm good to go. I can get a cup of coffee. I'm not angry. It makes my day flow better. Because that's how he did. That's how his nonverbals and anybody who's doing interviewing. And I tell my students this: 93% of everything that you communicate is nonverbal. Even when there are words, it's nonverbal. It's all the other things that you're listening to give context to the content.
Yes.
Context to the content. And so having thought about that and not wedding myself to the rhyme of pain gain, but this is a person who's just having this incredible experience that's looking for something different, to have a different relationship to what they're trying to do every day. That's what I learned.
I love it. And to wrap things up, why do we give gifts, right? Unless we're purely 100% altruistic, we do want something back in return, right? Whether it's if nothing else, the good feeling that we've done something nice for someone else.
Yeah.
Right? So
way to go, Santa Claus. Way to go, Santa Claus.
I know. That guy, he gets it spot on, I tell you what. Right? So be a good Santa Claus, right? Give altruistically, and never forget who you're doing it for.
That's right. Gentlemen,
see you next
week.
Happy holidays.
Go out, spend some money, or at least spend time with your family.
Spend money and time.
There you go.
All right. See you next week.
Yes.